My name is Dorla Aparicio, and I am a group piano teacher in Texas. Today, I have another teacher in Texas, Susan Staples Bell, who is a piano teacher, a composer, and weren't you a band director also? So, Susan, introduce yourself and tell us all about you.
Well, hi, everyone out there. Dorla, thank you so much for inviting me to come and chat with you. It's such an honor. I'm so excited. Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. My husband was in the Navy for 30 years, and so we moved around. I'm a Texas native from Corpus Christi, and I got my Bachelor of Music from Trinity in 85. I know I'm old. And my composition degree at UT Austin in 87. But then after we married, we lived in Nevada, we lived in Japan, we lived in Florida and Virginia twice, and Hawaii. And everywhere we moved, I found I had to have a different skill set. So I started off as a middle school band director in Kingsville, Texas. I did that for 3 years and I loved it, but wow, that's hard work. Kudos to those band directors out there. They work hard and those kids love them. It's a big job, but it's important, so important. And then we moved and I was a piano teacher, but then I've been a chapel choir director of music at different churches. I've been choir director. I've been an organist. I've been in praise bands. I was even in a rock band for a while. So
wow.
just all kinds of wherever we moved, I just felt like I was put in different places that needed help, and I love to help. So it was really fun opportunities there.
Awesome. So, how did you get into, well, no, let me ask first, were you always composing throughout this time?
Yes, absolutely. I even back in junior high, my dad loves to tell the story about when I was little and my mom would send me off to practice, and she was tone deaf. She didn't really have a clue of what I was doing. So I just started noodling. I had to make up things, but just as long as I was playing and there was sound coming out, she thought I was practicing. So I started improvising early. And as I became a teacher in band and all these things, I was writing for all of my students. So I've written, concert band, jazz band, I've written for handbells, I've written for choirs. I mean, just whatever was needed, I love to write. And you probably remember back in the day, it was difficult to get into publishing. I'd send a piece of music off. And when I was at UT Austin, I studied with Rick Lawn in jazz department. And we tried to get in at Barnhouse. And he was already there, but I'm a nobody. It's just hard, really hard. And when you move around, I don't have connections. And so when my husband retired in 2012, we were in Virginia, and I said, I'm done. I'm going home to Texas. Come on, let's go. So we came to Garden Ridge area outside of San Antonio, in between New Braunfels. And thank goodness for the internet, right? Sheet Music Plus offers a self-publishing option. And that's how I got started about 3.5 years ago. I said, wow, I love to write. I've got music everywhere for my students. What if other teachers could enjoy that too? And that's how I got started.
Wonderful. Well, that is how I met you, through one of your jazzy compositions for piano. And I don't know how you joined this group, Let's Talk Group Piano, but we started talking about writing for multi-level group piano, which is what I teach. And you wrote Tarantella.
Yeah.
In G minor.
Yes.
For Piano Pyramid Academy, but of course I used it with my students. And they love that. They still come a year later or even more, and they can still play it. They loved it. It was the hardest piece that we had that year. We worked on it both semesters until we got it ready in May.
Yes.
It was hard, but it was worth it. 6/8, a minor key. So tell us more about your multi-level writing.
Well, You open my eyes to this, Dorla. I've written for all kinds of things. I've written duets. I love to play with people. I love to play in ensembles. So that concept was not new to me, being in a concert band and understanding, the bari saxes need an easier part than the flutes. I understand that concept very well, but I'm a private piano teacher and I use groups as an enrichment. We only do maybe one or two ensembles a semester. So it's still a growing part of my studio. But yeah, I love the opportunity of multi-level type arrangements. They're just useful in so many ways. If you have a group of students with different abilities, obviously that works really well. But if you have even just siblings in a lesson, for an hour or whatever, I can teach the younger one the easier level, or I even take the older one and say, look, let's walk through these 4 levels and you're progressing through this song and we really get to know it well. So I think it's just has so much value and it's such a brilliant idea.
Yes, it works really well. And now that you say siblings, I have a sibling pair coming today that I need to use one of your easier ones. Tell us about the latest one that you have.
Well, there's something new that I came out with actually at Christmas time. I brought out creative Christmas carols, and there was a set of 6 of them, and you could get the junior version or you could get the like early intermediate type version, and it was just 5 or 6 different parts where, it's one hand. And I thought, man, families at Christmas, how fun would that be? And I tried it out on my family. We had 5 of us at the piano and one person could play the melody, joy to the world, the Lord is come. And then, there was a little chord part that they could play. And then there was a bass line part. And then somebody was over in the back who didn't fit on the bench. It was clapping, So I thought, oh, this is so brilliant. What if we could do this for ensemble or group teachers, and it would be a quick 5-minute little thing? And so I took that idea and I came up with at the gym, because we all need exercise, right? It's good for our bodies and our minds. And so this at the gym is 10 different pieces like that, is only for one hand. And each exercise, each piece has 5 different parts.
Okay.
So the first part is just an exercise. So it's only for 5 fingers: C major, C, 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 D, 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 E, E, F, F. You get the idea. It goes up, it comes down. Simple, easy peasy. Even your first graders can do that, even if it's taught by rote, right?
Right.
And these are all elements of a song, right? We need a melody. Well, we got that. Well, I think we need some harmony. So what if we had some chords? So part 2, and maybe this is for older kids, I'm not sure, but we have a C chord, D minor chord, E minor. It's labeled. So we're learning our chords as we're playing, and we're getting practice playing 3 notes at a time, and they're just whole notes. So that adds some harmonic diversity to our exercise.
Okay.
Then part 3, we need a bass line, right? And I can have 3 kids at the same piano do this, right? So we're going to use left hand this time. And it's just an ostinato. I taught this to a 2nd grader, and just said, oh, half notes, C, G, C, G. Just keep playing until we stop, And so she was fine. She could do that and felt really good about it. So we already have 3 parts going. The 4th part is a counter melody. So maybe if you have another kid that reads pretty well, I mean, it's not hard, but it's just different than the rest of the parts, that can be an high up on the piano part. Okay. And then part 5 is rhythm. Let's bring in some extra rhythm clapping that augments our experience. But we have quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, rest. So we introduce rest and quarter notes. So if I was teaching this to a group, I would make sure everybody, we're going to learn part 1. Everybody, we're going to play it together. Can you close your eyes and play it? What's the pattern? Think about this, right? And then I would say, hey, 1st grader, would you keep playing part 1? And this 5th grader over here, we're going to work on part 2, because that's chords and maybe you're not ready. I don't know. But I would teach everybody each part, and then I would assign parts. but when I did this in the fall, I had kids, we played the Top Gun ensemble for our Halloween concert. And I had them on Sunday afternoons for an hour for 6 kids. I didn't need the whole hour. So I said, we're going to do this. And they loved having keyboards, and they put organ and they put different sounds. And then I said, okay, don't tell anybody what part are you playing, pick one. And then after we finished, I said, so-and-so, what part did they play? Can you hear the difference? So we were listening skills, we were playing together to have ensemble experiences, we were reading, we were learning theory. I mean, it was just, there's a bunch of stuff packed in these 10 little pieces. And each piece is a different mood. So there's 4 of them in C major pentascale, 2 of them in 4/4 time, 2 of them 3/4 time. And then there's 4 in C minor. So I've written in the E flat for you. 2 in 4/4 time, 2 in 3/4 time. And then exercise 9 and 10 introduce crossing for the C major scale, but in a real easy way, so it's not too hard. And if you're in the C minor, that was like Halloween music. Yeah, we could play it really low and really slow. So each one has a different mood. So we're talking about shaping, just all kinds of stuff. And I'm sorry.
There's so much that, no, that's okay. There's so much that can be used with, is it called At the Gym?
At the Gym, and it's only on my website if you're looking for it.
Okay, you'll have to add that when we're done here in the comments, so I can remember to get it too. But we're practicing sight reading, rhythm, the note reading, also the opportunity to have something short for the students to try different sounds. To be successful in a short period of time. And then if I'm not mistaken, you say there's a part that is where you would clap or do a rhythm. They can use the rhythm section of the keyboard also, which is fascinating to them all the time. So for teachers who have multiple pianos, everybody can be doing something totally different and still be together.
Absolutely. And it's an instant ensemble. Once everybody knows the parts, right away, if you play all 5 parts together, you got an instant ensemble. So it's
measures?
What's that?
How many measures?
Oh, how many measures? Sure. Good question. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Perfect.
Yeah. The first one is 9.
We have success in 10 minutes or less.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think the longest one is maybe 16 or 17. It just depends. When I was in 3/4 time and we were going faster, I thought, we need a little bit more. Yeah. So, and they each have a exercise kind of name. Like number 9 is called Eagle Pose. If you're into yoga at all, talk about reaching up, because we're doing an ascending major scale, just kind of things to make it make sense. And we could talk, there's lots to talk about. And there's even a bonus exercise section in the back explaining C major scale, and then C harmonic. And anyway,
so you put everything in there that the teacher would need. The teacher could use this for a whole class. Oh yeah.
And there's even pointers at the beginning talking a lesson plan, kind of how would you use this? Why would you? What are the benefits of this? How would you organize it? What are some suggested use? I mean, like sight reading or ensemble So it's
because sometimes we need a break from the things we're working on for a performance, maybe, or just one of those days that you just need something different. And that sounds like just perfect for it.
Susan, my students think it's a treat.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Susan, tell us how you are incorporating group piano into your private lesson, because you're mainly a private lesson teacher.
Yes, I have 35 private lessons. 4 of them are online in different places in the country. Those are mostly adults, but everybody else comes in person. I teach 5 days a week till about 8 o'clock at night, except for Wednesdays. And Wednesdays I quit early because I have to go to church, and I'm the interim pianist there for choir rehearsals and Sunday service. I love what we're doing. We're doing some duets in lessons. because we're planning our May recital right now. So we're picking our repertoire and deciding what to do. So one way is just plain old duets. The other way is having special sign up for ensembles. Like in the fall, we did the Top Gun ensemble for the Halloween. So students are selected, asked, and then they learn their parts separately. And then we come together for about 3 extra practices. Usually it comes on Sunday afternoons because my students are really busy. It's hard to get them other times. And so, but then it's a treat because we do fun things and we play for each other, we talk and visit. And so, yeah, I have to use my ensembles as enrichment and then a special goal of playing on our recitals.
Wonderful, wonderful. So before we end this conversation, Susan, tell us what other pieces do you have that are multi-level?
Oh, wow. I probably should have made a list.
Well, it's more than one, right?
Oh gosh, probably 40.
Oh, wonderful.
At least, yes, because I've got if you're looking for my music, there's 2 places to find them. One, if it's an original or a public domain arrangement, then you'll probably find it on my website, right? But if it's a popular title like Lean on Me or Great Balls of Fire or Old Time Rock and Roll or Love Will Keep Us Together or LOVE, or those are just a few that are popping in mind, but I have probably 10 or 15 over there. They have to live on Sheet Music Plus because Hal Leonard grants us the copyright license to arrange those.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you arrange, I know we arrange differently for multi-level because I do much younger students than you do. But tell us, what is the general way that you do your multi-level?
That's a great question because and can I put a plug right now? Group Illuminated Conference is coming this summer. You're working with that as well. And I've been asked to do a unit on ensemble possibilities. And so multi-level is one of the possibilities in enrichment and for private teachers. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Yes. I'm very excited. I'm doing lots of research about that. So going back, my format for multi-level is different. I like to have an easy piano part. That's for the littles. And I like to make it a lead sheet so we can double for older kids if they get bored or whatever, they can still see it. So they have the melody. It's very simple. There's usually no left hand, but I throw in those chord symbols on top, and that's really helpful for more than one. Yeah. And then the second one is a late elementary. So now we have 2 hands, and we might have a very simple left hand. It might be just fifths, or it might be just one note, depending upon. I try not to move them out of C position if we're in C, you know what I mean? So I try to keep that simple for them. The easy and the late elementary might have some syncopated rhythm. It just depends on the tune, you know, like Eye of the Tiger, you gotta have bump, 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 bump. You have to do that, but they know it, right? And they learned it by rote, and everybody's doing it. They jump in, right? So that's two parts. The next part is kind of strange, but I love duets. So it's actually an early intermediate duet that can be played on one piano, right? If you're a teacher that doesn't have as many pianos, you can double up the 2 easy parts on one piano, just put one up an octave, right? You could put 2 kids on one piano for the duet. And then the last part is an intermediate solo. So the teacher could play that, an advanced student could play that. Old Time Rock and Roll, I think I even gave a fun accompaniment part for the teacher that's just basically, you know, ding, 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 boo, you know, some fun little ornaments. But I've heard from some teachers that their teenage students love to play that. So it's really no melody, and there's just kind of a rockin' so I love that format because that makes my arrangement more versatile to you know, just somebody wants the intermediate solo, or somebody just wants the duet, or somebody
so
just
you
wants
sell them separately also and together.
I do.
Oh, okay.
So it gets more use out of my arranging.
But can you play them all together?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They come in a package, all the parts, And most of those multi-level arrangements like that, like Old Time Rock and Roll or Lean on Me was one of the new ones I did. They come with free backing tracks.
Oh, okay.
And that's in a Google Drive. You can grab them. You can hear, just the late elementary parts. Send it home with a student and say, practice this. Give them a link, or what does the whole thing sound like and how does my part work in there? All the parts are in there and you can play along.
Mhm.
Some of the more difficult ones, like Great Balls of Fire, whoo, that's fast. So I gave you 3 options. There's a slow tempo and a medium tempo, and then the fast tempo or the correct tempo. So you can work your way up. And that's very helpful for practice, I think.
Oh, okay. But you're talking about the track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's brilliant. Well, while you were mentioning them, I'm writing down because I have one group of teenagers that we're gonna be doing some new stuff tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at Sheet Music Plus, you could just search my name, and there's 169 pieces over there that you can look through and find. And you can even say my name and then search multi-level or search whatever, and those will all pop up. At my website, I've got like an improvisation study, like, the iconic 4-chord song that everybody talks about. I've got a little thing where there's 4 different parts. There's an elementary, late elementary, early intermediate, and intermediate. And we just did the chord progression. And what are the different patterns you can use with chords? Well, the little kids are just maybe playing a third in whole notes.
Mhm.
And then the late elementary, maybe we're doing a broken chord pattern, D, F, A, yep, right. And then the early intermediate, we're talking about inversions.
Mhm.
And then the left hand has a more involved bass line. I mean, there's just all kinds of things you could do, but a lot of those are on my website because
So group piano teachers that are listening here, the way that Susan has arranged multi-level is brilliant because you can use one song and lesson plan for all of your groups. It's one way to keep your sanity when planning for groups. So, I've been doing that for quite a few years now, where one day I make lesson plans and that's what I use all week for everyone. And so I am so grateful that you are providing more of this so that we can have such a great variety of music for our groups.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I my little thing about teaching is I want the students to like the music that we're doing. I want it to be fun, and I want them to be learning. So my music usually is grabs their attention in some way. And that's yes. And so the multi-level is a way to extend that to all the different levels. So
yes, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Susan. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I know we could talk. Well, I can always talk, but you can help me out quite well.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
Please, when you are done, I know the replay will have the links for your different things, but would you add them in the comments here on Facebook so that whoever watches later can go directly to all your places? Thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.